The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious. Hold on.
What up, Cosmic Cousins? It's your girl, Nova Charm. Welcome back to another episode of Astrology Tea with Nova Charm. And today I'm doing a revamping on one of my series that I have on my channel, which is the Astrology 101. When it comes to astrology, I read everything from an energy perspective. Other methods may work for other people, but this is what works for me. And if you're similar to me, then the way I explain things may make a little bit more sense to you than getting all scientific and getting too technical about things. So back when I first started this channel, I started a segment, Astrology 101. Well, I kind of fell off of it. I've desperately been working on my commitment issues, y'all, okay? And in an effort to do so, I thought it would be nice to revamp my Astrology 101 series, but this time take it from the top. Now, I had an Aries video on my channel already that has been privated, okay? Because we're going to redo this. And this one is definitely dedicated to the Aries. We are walking into Aries season. We are walking into an Aries stellium. And we need to know what the tea is or what this energy is finna be. Now, you think you know about Aries energy? You think you know about Aries energy, but wait till I get finished with you. But before I get too far off in a tangent, you already know what to do. Go on and hit that like. Go on and subscribe to your girl and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I want to sip with you. Now let's get straight into it, because I'm dropping this on a Tuesday, which happens to be an Aries day. All about action, baby. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Aries, the great I am. Aries is that very first zodiac. It's the very first energy that we encounter on that zodiac wheel. Now, each of these energies build into something bigger. But everything that we do starts with us. And this is where Aries comes in. Aries energy spans out that first 30 degrees of that celestial longitude. It literally is the cosmic initiator. It's the pioneer. It's that energy that ventures out to the void to discover that art of self. Aries energy is a cardinal fire sign. Now, when it comes to cardinal energy, just think of cardinal as the leader. Cardinal signs lead us into different seasons. Aries energy in particular leads us into spring, when things spring back into life. Aries energy is aggressive, but it has to be, okay? It's literally coming from the oceanic waters of Pisces energy. And Aries energy transitions us from the collective of this we are all one, which we are, but it narrows it down. Pisces energy is literally like being out in the void. Aries energy comes in like that bright spark of light that begins the proceeding of any type of action. Now, when it comes to the zodiacs, Aries is the baby. It is considered the infant, the naive child of the zodiacs. It's curious and approaches life with a vulnerability and almost this naive type of energy. There's just this drive of Aries energy to discover. And Aries energy is walking out there without even thinking about it, okay? Now, Aries energy is very naive when it comes to discovering the world, but don't get it twisted. Do not get Aries energy twisted. It is represented by Mars, okay? Aries energy is literally the god of war. Let's not play, okay? When it comes to zodiac energy, it is definitely the feistiest one that is on the chart, but it has to be. To be an initiator, you literally have to be, okay? Now, on a spiritual level, Aries energy represents self-mastery, okay? Taking care of self, standing up for yourself, taking care of your physical body because Aries represents the physical body. Just an overall making sure that you are where you need to be before you step into that next zodiac, which would be Taurus, dealing with your values. And that's the things that are immediately outside of self. So you have to make sure self is cool first. So that's what Aries energy does. Now, Aries energy is also represented by the ram. But the ram is a little bit more than just pushing through. It's a little bit more than just the imagery of pushing through, even though that is a big thing. Ultimately, this goes back to Greek mythology. I guess even before that, though, the Egyptians had utilized it as a symbol that was created by the Egyptian god Uman-Ra. Which, child, he has a story all to itself. We ain't going to get into that in this video. But the ram's horns was depicted as a symbol of the king of the gods, as well as fertility energy for the spring season. When it came to the Egyptian temples, the presence of a ram in a temple was used to establish connections between the animal and the divine ability to create something. Not just something, though. something from absolutely nothing. But through all the different myths, one thing that is the same all across the board, and that's the ram being the symbol for protection and strength. The V shape of that ram's horns literally represent the perseverance to push through. Pushing through barriers, pushing through anything that thought about standing in your way. And it's using the head to do it. So let's talk about it. When it comes to the personal body, Aries is represented by the head. Now, overall, when it comes to the Zodiac, it deals with the physical body of it all. But when it comes to our body itself, we have our own universe going on, okay? And with that being said, every part of our body is represented by a different Zodiac energy. Aries, for instance, deals with the head and the face, the brain and the skull. If you have prominent Aries energy, it is very likely throughout your lifetime at some point you have suffered some type of head injury or you have a lot of headaches. If you have a lot of Aries energy, you always have to be cautious of things dealing with your brain, dealing with your head. And my cousins with heavy Aries energy, go on and drop it in the comments. What was your injuries? Because it's true. Y'all unfortunately experience a lot of headaches and migraines or have a lot of facial tension. Now, this is just a little bit of tea for my Aries thick individuals. This only happens when your fire energy is being blocked. So just know that. The ram's horns are a symbol of that mental power, that battering ram that allows an individual to force their way through the impossible. Now, because of the fact that the head energy is so heavily emphasized when it comes to Aries energy now, y'all can have a tendency to be a little headstrong or even be butt heads, if you will. Just saying. It's symbolic and in actuality. All in the same. Now, diving a little bit more into that V shape of that ram. The V shape represents fertility. I mean, it literally mirrors our female reproductive system. It just does, okay? Go back, look at the shape, and tell me I'm lying. I'm just saying. But that connection reinforces the theme that Aries is the initiator of life, that divine creation. It literally suggests that I am consciousness is inherently created to exist in order to have the potential to bring in the new life. And this could be either biologically or through birthing ideas. Now, Aries' planetary parent is Mars, making Aries a Martian, okay? Now, Mars is a red planet, and we might as well go ahead and break down this planetary parent real quick, okay? Now, when it comes to Mars, that cosmic energy deals with drive, desire, and the will to survive. Now, Aries originally shared this energy with Scorpio. Scorpio used to be that planetary partner over there with Aries before Scorpio decided to pack its bags and move over to Pluto, okay? But Scorpio, don't get it twisted, is still the daughter of Mars, okay? So Aries still kind of shares that planetary energy with Scorpio, but it primarily holds it down in Mars, okay? Now, when it comes to the axis of energy, Aries' sister sign is Libra, which Libra is over in Venus. I know y'all heard that saying that women are from Venus and men are from Mars. I believe it was a book. But you got one planet that is about attracting, which is Venus, and you got the other one that is about being a go-getter and aggressively going after things, which is Mars. So Mars is known for being that aggressive-ass planet. It's known for fighting to get what it wants. It's known for not being afraid of shit, and it's willing to go through the paint to get it. And just a little bit of tea when it comes to medical astrology, Mars represents the red blood cells. Just a little bit of side note. Now, Mars was first discovered back in 1609, and our baby has 2 moons. Now, because of the fact that Mars has the rep of being action-based, about that courage, that raw masculinity, it is very much a masculine type of planet. It governs all those primal instincts. We're talking about those knee-jerking reactions when you're in the face of danger. Now, Mars can sometimes be associated with some misfortune and conflict. There's a lot of passion and ambition when it comes to Mars too now. And this is where a lot of that sexual energy comes from. Ew. But Mars loves the pleasure. The energy of passion just creates so many different facets. Like I said, we could go from the sexuality or the things that you're just passionate about overall in life, like something that you really love to do. And we're talking about on a creative aspect. Aries energy is that feeling you get when you get that first bright idea. You ever just have an idea that just instantly gets you going? Like you have to get up right then and there and start on it instantly. That's that Aries energy. That's the passion that I'm talking about. Now, that feeling that you get is the passion, but what makes you actually get up and start taking action is that drive. And that's some more of that Mars energy right there. This is the energy that helps us set our ambition, our goals. This is our refuse to quit, I refuse to stop energy. I would say can't stop, won't stop, but that's just some Diddy shit I refuse to do anymore, okay? But this is that energy that gives you that oomph, okay? Now, because Aries energy is associated with Mars, and Mars is the red planet, you can find yourself tapping into Aries spirit and the energy when wearing the color red. Now, the color black also gives Mars, and that's why when we wear the color black, us being the goddesses that we are and all, when we wear the color black with a red lip and some red nails, that is an extremely seductive, powerful look. Just know that. A little bit of tea. Now, another thing that Aries energy has is physical stamina. Aries energy can go and go and go, like the Energizer Bunny, okay? So just know if you step in the bedroom with somebody with an Aries and Mars, baby, just grab the water bottle, okay? You in for one hell of a night. Now, too much of anything can be bad for you, so you do want to be careful with too much of this energy, and especially with it being out of whack. It can lead to you being promiscuous, okay? We don't celebrate hoe activities over here. We are sacred beings, all right? We protect our portals. If you are having a lot of that energy, just know it's time for you to create. Sex energy and passionate energy of creation is literally the same energy. So always make sure that you're redirected, rebalanced, and you do everything with intentions, baby, okay? Now, of course, we will be breaking down more of the boudoir energy when we get into Mars a little bit more. Because in Astrology 101, baby, we dive into everything. And I do mean everything. Now, I talked about earlier a little bit about the Venus versus Mars energy. It's literally the ignition rather than reflection type of energy. This energy of ignition or assertion makes you feel an urgency or an excitement to the point where you don't mind taking the risk. That literally becomes a part of the necessary process. Now, you want to make sure that you really tapped into this energy. I mean, after all, there are some risks in life that are absolutely necessary, okay? And hesitation in this energy can ultimately make you lose your power with this energy, and that's not what we want. We want to be able to use this energy to our full max. Times where you need this energy the most is when you're starting some type of new project, when you're clearing out any type of emotional or physical clutter, and this absolutely has to be done through movement. But all this stamina and all this vitality is represented by Aries. So if you want to look at your athletic abilities, or even the best way to get yourself in shape, your Mars energy will definitely give you more tea on this, okay? People with heavy Aries energy just have a natural athletic ability, but they're also naturally aggressive. Let's get into it. Now, just like all the energies, this can be used to your benefit or to your detriment, okay? Now, Aries energy represents the sacred warrior. Now, when used correctly, we are talking about that pioneering, independent trailblazer that don't need nobody's fucking permission to do anything that it's got to do. You hear me? It's that bold energy that's willing to face any challenge head on. And it does it with all the courage of who gonna check me, boo type of energy. Energy is direct and honest. I mean, it really don't get no more straightforward than Aries energy when it comes to communication. They don't have any type of think about them. It's all gas, no break. But people like myself appreciate and love this about Aries energy because it gains trust and transparency. And I can fuck with somebody like that because I never have to guess. You're not going to be all scary about what you got to say. You're going to say what you need to say. Now, another positive trait about this Aries energy when it comes to its aggression is that protectiveness, okay? It is very loyal to family and friends, and it really ain't going to play about them, okay? Aries energy is literally quite ready to go to war behind it, okay? Just so you know. Aries energy is bumping bone crusher. I ain't never scared straight out the room, okay? Just know that. And remember, I already told y'all they got great stamina and ain't no quit in them. Absolutely athletic. So you definitely have your hands full, okay? Now, of course, for every positive, there is a negative. And we always got to talk about it because we want to make sure that we stay away from this type of energy. Now, you definitely have to watch out for being too impulsive or too hasty. This is why it is extremely important to make sure that your gut instinct is where it needs to be. Because there is definitely a fine line between taking a calculated risk versus just jumping into situations without thinking, planning, where there is a bunch of consequences afterwards. Now, of course, because this energy is so aggressive, you do have to worry about that short temper. Aries energy is that first streak of fire. And have you ever had to light a match? Oh, okay. That's the energy that we're talking about here. One thing about Aries, though, they get mad quick, but they don't hold on to no grudges. They forget about it pretty quickly, too, okay? Now, another thing about Aries energy is it can be a little stubborn. It is a cardinal sign, so it feels like it's the only leader in the room. And because Aries is all about action, once it's decided it's action, that's what it is. And it can be incredibly difficult to deter them from that. And when it comes to that restlessness and that boredom, baby, they would literally make decisions that just make you just ask the question, why? Like, why did you do that? Once Aries energy gets bored and restless, is pretty much when it starts to make those hasty and impulsive type of decisions. In addition, this can make long-term projects as well as just regular routines very difficult to manage and hard to get through. Aries energy will leave a lot of stuff on the table if it is not managed properly. Now, a little bit of tea on how to manage this Aries energy and how to get things done, especially if you have a lot of Aries energy. It can sometimes be very hard for you to focus. You have to give yourself small tasks and celebrate the small wins. So even if it is something that is a long-term project, give yourself sections of achievement for that project and only focus on that section. Then once that section is completed, you can celebrate that and move on to the next section. By doing so, it keeps your eyes off of the bigger picture and keeps you enthusiastic and excited about each portion of that project, okay? Now, probably the biggest red flag about this energy is self-centeredness, okay? And being arrogant. Now, no doubt, a negative trait is a negative trait, okay? Once it's stepped over to the side of not being good, I mean, it is what it is. But that self-centered and arrogantness, boy, that I first, that me first mentality, you completely overlook the needs of other people and their feelings, and you only think of your own. I mean, we know Aries energy is that I am, but damn. I mean, if you got a lot of Aries energy, just watch out for that. If you are dealing with somebody with a heavy Aries energy and they are exemplifying that characteristic, just make sure you are on your I am as well, or else you'll be dealing with pouring into somebody that's never going to pour back into you because they can't see past themselves. Now, as you can see, Aries energy has the ability to create or it has the ability to destroy. Now, I will be dropping a Mars video, so I will be dropping more information when it comes to Mars, because Mars does get a little violent. Like, we ain't going to try to act like it's just real cute and sexy and it stands up for itself. No, Mars can get fucking violent, okay? We talking about murder, guns, death, the whole nine. It is a very dark planet, actually. And when it's in its lower manifestation, it could definitely get with the selfishness, the irritability, and the cruelty of it all. But when it's dealing with its higher energy, it could be that beacon of light that emerged outside of that darkness, baby. Now, I had already told you that all of the zodiac signs represent a part of the body. Well, each planet represents a part of our solar system or just our overall structural system. When it comes to Mars, it represents our muscular system. And like I said, I will dive a lot deeper into that when I get into my Mars video. But that's just a little bit of tea on why Mars represents that fight for us, because it definitely represents that adrenal gland, which is our source of adrenaline, which gives us that fight or flight, okay? But I'm going to break all that down when I talk about Mars. So you better make sure you go ahead and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that video. Because when I say there's just so much tea on that planet itself, that's why I didn't even want to add that up in here into this Aries video. Like, there's just so much to tell. Especially when we get to breaking down the 7 planets and the 7 days of the week. How Tuesday, which is the day that this is dropping, is Mars Day. Like, there's so much to tell. So just make sure that you tune in, because you definitely need the tea on why this is and how you're supposed to be using this energy so you could be making the most out of your energy. Speaking of which, making the most out of your energy, there are several things that you can do in order to keep your Aries energy balanced, because that is incredibly important. Now, one surefire way to keep this Aries energy balanced is just making sure that you keep your chakras balanced. Now, Aries energy is represented by the solar plexus as well as the root chakra. These two chakras are the center of survival and grounding. Now, the solar plexus itself is a masculine energy. Now, because the solar plexus deals with the engine behind our fire, which is our confidence, our motivation, and our overall attitude when it goes for going out for something, and just our willpower overall. This is the energy of that Aries energy that solar plexus helps to balance. So when the solar plexus energy is balanced, the Aries energy feels unstoppable. When it's unbalanced, it feels impatient and it's arrogant. Arrogant as fuck, actually, okay? And that arrogance tends to take over and just kind of mess things up. Now, the main color for solar plexus is yellow, but because Mars is a red planet, you better know it's tied to that root, which deals with red and gives us security. The root is that foundation, that survival mode. It's all about the soul immersing itself into the physical world. And if this energy is unbalanced, then your Aries energy is going to be scary as hell and your anxiety going to be super high. Grounding is needed with this area. This area has to feel secure. Now, if you need a good affirmation just to get these two energies balanced for your chakra, then go ahead and write down these two affirmations, because y'all know I keep me some affirmations on the side. Now, when it comes to your root chakra, a great affirmation for that is I am stable and secure. And when it comes to that solar plexus, a great affirmation for that is I trust myself to make clear, capable, and confident decisions. Now, you say these affirmations in the mirror over and over and over to yourself throughout the day, whether it's whispering or saying them out loud, definitely helps with grounding and finding foundation when it comes to these energies. Now, other things that are crazy effective when it comes to Aries energy and getting that energy stabilized is making sure that you add movement as meditation. Dance around a bit. Engage in some exercises that pushes you outside of your comfort zone. Or just going for a brisk walk in the sun. Anything that you could think of that would release that pent up energy and prevent any type of stagnation. Now, I don't know if y'all about this life or not, but there is a such thing as cold exposure, where you do like cold plunges or cold showers, and it's a way to shock awake your system. It's just a way to regulate your nervous system. Some people use it. Some people ain't with all of that. I encourage you to do what works for you. And the best way to figure that out is to know what's going on with your Mars and what planetary energy you're all dealing with when it comes to your Mars placement. Now, another thing that you want to do is start each day giving yourself permission to be the main character. After all, you are literally the main character in your own life. Ain't nothing wrong with taking that stage. Wear something that makes you feel unstoppable. Do something that is celebratory of your own present and just who you are. Just give yourself permission to celebrate yourself. That has nothing to do with being selfish. That's literally just self-care. Now, for my spiritual girlies, if you're needing to release any type of energy that is stagnant when it comes to your Aries energy, you already know a fire ritual is the place to go. Please be safe about that shit, but you already know what it is. Write down what you need to release and go on and burn it up. Visualize that energy being transmuted while it's burning as well. Now, another thing that you can do is get you a hell yes list. This is a list of things that literally invoke a hell yes type of response. Now, on another sheet of paper, I want you to make another list, and you could call this one the hell no list, okay? This is the list of things that you literally feel are obligations that drain your energy, okay? Now, the ultimate goal is to minimize the hell no list. They still got to be done because they're obligations. But I really want you to get on your Mars shit and see how you can transmute those hell no things that's on your list into some hell yeses. How can you get excited about these things? Now, we talked about earlier about the head thing where, sometimes y'all get headaches, migraines, a lot of tension in your face. Make sure you are utilizing gentle stretching as well as using calming oils like lavender oils and things that just help you relax. Now, foods that you can actually eat to kind of help activate that Aries energy is energizing foods like ginger, cayenne pepper, any type of root vegetable, or anything citrus. When it comes to teas, you definitely want to look for something where it cleans your energy or helps you focus or provides like an antioxidant. Now, we talked about colors a little bit earlier, but other colors that you would want to utilize besides the yellow and the red would be bright colors like orange as well as brown. But red would definitely be the main essential color when it comes to Aries. It literally mirrors iron oxide, which is of Mars, and deals with the blood in our body. So wearing red definitely helps build that main character energy and boost that into play. Now, if you're thinking about getting some crystals for my crystal girlies, if you need some grounding as well as some courage, get you some bloodstone. Rubbing it in your hands before an important decision just helps boost that badassery, you know? Now for grounding and stability, red jasper would be your crystal that you would want to go to. Definitely turn to this crystal when emotions are high and you're ready to get baddies on a bitch. This energy actually helps bring you calmness, okay? Now for raw power and motivation, our carnelian is definitely the crystal that you would want to go to. Carry this around with you. I always got me some crystals in my bra. Sorry, y'all. That might have been TMI, but it's true. But you definitely want this crystal around when it comes to that kickstarting any type of project, when it's dealing with creativity and just adding that little oomph of fire to that inspiration. Now, if you're trying to get your physical stamina up, go on and get you some red coral, okay? Red coral is traditionally associated with Mars. It reduces your aggression, so it could be like channeled in the correct area. Now, if you need to add some Aries energy in your home, once again, you need to be adding some red, maybe some maroon, but definitely go ahead and get you some beautiful flowers. And the type of flowers that you would want is red roses. Of course, that's going to give Mars intensity. Tulips give a lot of enthusiasm and boldness. Tiger lilies add passion. Now, if you're dealing with the spirited and the optimistic side of Aries, definitely get you some honeysuckle and make it happen. Now, when we're talking about Aries energy, you know, when I look at energy, I'm looking at it from a spiritual level, a soul type of mission level. And just know, if you have a lot of Aries energy or a lot of Aries energy around you, there are definitely lessons when it comes to self-mastery. This energy is about a deeper soul identity. This requires us as individuals to consciously evolve our energies rather than being ruled by them. If you've ever gotten a reading from me, one thing that you already know that I will tell you is that an energy is going to be used whether you're conscious of it being used or not. So it's best to learn your energy, understand your energy so that you can utilize your energy in the best ability, because that energy is definitely going to do what it's going to do. And just like our muscular system, whether we use it or not, it's still there and available. But when it comes time to use it, how good is it going to be if we ain't never working it out? It is important for us to understand what Aries is trying to teach us. One of the main things is self-expression. This is something that we identify in childhood. There's times we have an inner conflict when it comes to being real with ourselves and being completely authentic to our soul's mission. We just be letting too many people get in our ears sometimes. And Aries energy literally encourages us to trust and listen to ourselves over anything. Another spiritual goal of Aries energy is finding your inner authority. Aries energy loves its freedom. I mean, if you try to contain the first spark of fire before it gets a chance to breathe, it's likely to dull out, you know? So you got to give it its freedom and allow it to stand alone. And so because we have to do that with that fire energy, we also have to do that with ourselves. This is when trusting ourselves once again comes back into play, and also being 100% authentic to self. Which brings us to the next spiritual goal of Aries energy, which is separating yourself from social expectation. This is also some more of that courage to just be able to stand alone. Our mission here, being pushed out by ourselves. I don't give a fuck if you got a twin or not, okay? Even if you shared a womb with someone, you still have your own individual date of birth, okay? So we all have a solo spiritual mission. Aries energy gives us the courage to go on that journey and not be afraid to face what's ahead. Now, another mission that you have to balance, especially if you are an Aries North node, is that balancing of being and doing. Because you are on the axis of that Libra energy, which deals with Venus and attracting things, that deals more with the being portion of it. Whereas Aries energy, which is Mars, is more assertive, so it deals with the doing portion of that. Well, there's a time and a place for everything, okay? You got to know when it's time to relax in nature, in your natural energy, and you got to know when it's go time. Understanding this about yourself literally helps you prevent burnout, okay? Now, the bigger spiritual mission of the I am consciousness when it comes to Aries energy is that great I am. I talked about that. Now, please don't get this twisted. This is not just a mental concept, okay? This is literally an energetic realization of oneness. When it comes to Aries energy and its perspective of life, it requires no justification. It just is what it is. This is where the people-pleasing thing is just not even in the cards, okay? It is not a requirement in life for you to take care of other people and other people's emotions before you take care of your own. This is when putting yourself first is at its healthiest, okay? Understanding that you deserve self-care as well is a part of keeping your Aries energy balanced. Aries energy literally reminds us that life is simple. Enjoy being alive. Breathe. It's okay to be a pure spirit and not take everything too seriously. It's a beautiful thing to experience new experiences that you've never experienced before. Now, before we get into the breakdown of Aries energy when it comes to planets and a little briefing of 2026 Aries energy, let's talk about the decans of Aries energy a bit, because there actually is a difference whether you first, second, or third. It just is. Now, that first decan is from March 21st through March 31st. This is that raw Aries energy. And this Aries energy is definitely the inspiration. Now, when it comes to Aries energy, you're literally as aggressive as it comes. I'm sorry, you are. But you're meant to be, so it's okay. You have a very dominant personality. Whenever you feel like somebody is literally testing your will, it is on and popping, okay? And you don't give a damn about riding right over the opposition. You guys are typically high energy and incredibly active, and you love to do things with all your heart. You're bold and extremely confident. Now, you would be the main ones, when we talk about burnout, that we would be talking about, because you will go and go and go until you exhaust yourself. So you do have to watch that. Now, when it comes to second decan Aries, we're talking about April 1st through April 10th. Now, this Aries is the innovator. Now, what makes you a little bit different from the first decan is because now all of y'all are ultimately ruled by Mars, right? But for each decan, there's actually a sub-ruler. Did you know that? Well, see, that's why I'm here, to give you the tea, okay? Now, with that being said, first decan, they're ruled by Mars, sub-ruled by Mars as well, okay? So it's Mars on top of Mars. So that's what makes them extra Aries, okay? Now, your sub-ruler is actually the sun. And this is why you are given more of a power of innovation. You're going to give that Aries energy that deals with pride, your dignity, and your vitality. You're probably going to be the one in the bedroom a little bit more too. Now, you're the type of Aries that's incredibly ambitious, and you tend to have others that gravitate towards you. Now, what separates you from the other two decans is the fact that you tend to go for pleasure a little bit more so than anything. And you kind of have a want list. You like expensive things. And once you want it, you determine to get it, which can sometimes be your downfall depending on what you are wanting. Now, when we're talking about the third decan, we're talking about April 11th through April 19th. You are in the last energy of Aries, and you are giving the Aries energy of foresight, okay? Now, your sub-ruler is Jupiter. Can you believe that? But this energy gives you incredibly high ambition. And you kind of find it hard to sit still. You like to be on the go. You love to travel and see new things. You love looking and finding new information. And you're actually incredibly passionate when it comes to knowledge. And you're definitely interested in the occults, okay? Now, when it comes to business, that is definitely an area where you shine. Now, you're a little bit more warm-hearted and a little bit more gentle and friendly than the other two. And at times, you could definitely overdo it with that Jupiter influence. Yeah, you already know. I say Jupiter get greedy. You already know how I get down. Now, let's talk about Aries and planets for a bit. Starting with the inner planet. And the sun, well, it's technically not a planet, but this is where this energy is actually exalted. Basically meaning that the sun's core energy is ego and vitality is perfectly aligned with the qualities of the ram. You know exactly what you want, and you'll show everybody what that Aries energy is really about. Any energy that is in the sun is meant to highlight that energy. So if you're an Aries sun, you're literally meant to show us all how it's meant to be done. You will also have high sexual energy similar to someone who has their Aries in Mars. You are highly creative and you always working on something. You are passionate about things that are of the creative nature. Other things really don't excite you much. Now, if you are somebody with Aries in the moon, this energy is a little bit more hidden. This energy is a little bit more confrontational, a little bit more defensive, because they got that emotional energy behind it. Now, you can be emotionally impulsive and quick to anger. Now, because of the fact that you are somebody who deals with your impulse a little bit more than the other placements of Aries, like all Aries deals with it, but some placements is a little bit more potent, if you will, than others. This is one of them. This energy really needs to rely on its gut instinct and intuition, honey. Also, Aries moons, not to get in your business or nothing, but abandonment issues is a big thing typically with this area, primarily of a maternal figure. So this is going to be something that you would actually have to work on. Now, when it comes to Mercury and Aries energy, when I say your communication is direct, it's actually an understatement. You are overly honest and sometimes incredibly impulsive with your words. Now, you are quick on your feet. You do think fast. You're actually phenomenal when it comes to quick decision making. Now, because of the fact that you are so direct, you do tend to hurt people's feelings when you say things. So you just might want to, work on that a little bit. Outside of that, just really tune into the passion for learning, passion for knowledge, and the passion for creativity. And be careful about becoming overly attached to your own ideas and not being open-minded to others. Now, when it comes to Venus and Aries, that's actually in its detriment here, okay? It's actually in its detriment. Now, what I mean when I say that is this is the planet of love. And Venus is not comfortable with all this assertive energy. It is not a chaser. It is an attractor. So you do tend to have a little bit of hard time when it comes to relationships. You do have to watch for being one-sided and not taking your partner's feelings into consideration. Now, with Venus here, they don't really plan for love. They love a spontaneous, fun, loving type of energy. They do have a hard time with commitment because of the spontaneity of this energy, but they definitely value honesty when it comes to their relationships. Now, for women, Venus talks about the type of man that you're attracted to. This energy definitely says manly man. This would be somebody who has a naturally athletic build or who's just somebody who's just naturally athletic. They enjoy spontaneity. A regular relationship routine is just not for them. So the relationship has got to stay fun, got to stay exciting. And it really is just one of those energies where you just have to wake up and choose that person every day. Now, you do tend to attract men that have quick tempers. So you're going to have to watch out for that because, they can tend to be abusive, just being real. And that's only if they in their shadow. And if you're with them, that means you're in your shadow too. Okay? Now, when it comes to Aries and Mars, now you at home. This is its sign. It loves it here. You're heavily athletic, good at probably every sport just naturally. You have a natural athletic frame, and 9.5 times out of 10, you're extremely good in bed. Now, on top of all of that, though, you are definitely quick-tempered. And you could probably fight really, really fucking good. Now, people with this placement typically are unusually strong, okay? And or very fast and quick. Now, when it comes to men, this area talks about the type of women that you are attracted to. You are definitely into physical appearance. You enjoy a woman who takes care of herself. She has to be incredibly sexy, and you need her to be sexual. You typically love a woman with a backbone and somebody who's not afraid to stand up for herself, okay? Now, just like with the Venus, you do have to worry about her being temperamental. This would definitely be the type of energy to leave all of your tires on flat and bust out all the windows in your car. Jasmine Sullivan style, okay? Now, getting into the outer bound planets, when we're talking about Jupiter and Aries, we're talking about prosperity and luck and expansion coming in the form of leadership and innovation. You are extremely optimistic. Jupiter and Aries individuals typically have a really high self-esteem, and they have an incredible thirst for knowledge. You are definitely going to be the one to be traveling and be out, okay? Just because you have a passion for overall adventure. You damn sure not scared to go after the things that you want. Now, when it comes to Saturn and Aries, child, that's where we currently are right now. Saturn is currently in Aries. Okay. Now, this placement can be challenging. So we definitely all feeling this as well as our government is feeling this. Okay. Now, Saturn has a need for structure and Aries ain't trying to do none of that shit. It has a need for freedom. Now, because of the fact that Saturn does restrict things, this can play out in a reluctance of leadership and a fear for being the center of attention. At an early age, you had trouble asserting yourself or even standing up for yourself. You let people walk all over you. This position, you have to learn how to fight for yourself and stand up for yourself. You have to learn how to initiate things in your life and not sit back and talk about them and just hope that they happen. Now, when it comes to Aries energy in 2026, there is a big cosmic shift into this energy, okay? That is why I had to start this video all over again and just redo it because this energy is so prevalent, especially right now. With Neptune moving into Aries for the first time in 165 years, okay? This 13-year transit is expected to be a big, bold wave of inspiration and spiritual courage. Really having the balls to make your dreams come true. Dreaming big and taking those risks and manifesting those innovative visions into your life through assertive action. This is going to be a major theme for this energy overall. Now, if you haven't had a chance to check out my videos when it comes to my Neptune and Aries videos, as well as the 2026 for all of the rising signs, of course, looking for yours in particular, then you already know what this energy entails. And if you have not already, then go on and take the time to check them out. I'm going to teach you some Aries energy. If you really want the information, you'll take the initiative to go get it, okay? Because I have it right there on my page, all right? And when it comes to Aries energy, it is more than just a simple archetype of aggression and leadership. It's literally the foundation of self. With that spirit of the red planet that fuels our muscles, every single aspect of Aries energy is geared towards a singular goal of existence. This energy literally teaches us that before we love others, like its sister sign Libra, we got to first learn how to love ourselves. Aries energy gives us the gift of independence, bravery, and that energy to go after the things that we really, really want. Cosmic Cousins, go ahead and drop in the comments, where does Aries sit for you? I want to know. And if you made it this far in this video, you definitely have better hit that like button. Y'all better have hit it. And also, you should have been subscribed by now. Like, what are you waiting for? And if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. Take action. Aries style. I'm out, Cosmic Cousins.